All right, we're back here for our final feature match of the week for week 5. We got Christopher S. or Stems, who I'm going to be watching from his point of view, and he's facing off against Tony G, who was the other half of that very memorable feature match in week 2 with Chris H. And
That's right.
yeah, so Christopher S. He's a league rookie, so he's in his first league, and he is 20-4, which is unbelievable. Got to be one
Yeah,
of
very
the
impressive.
he's in the running for potentially one of the best records we've ever seen. Honestly, I think 25-5 was the best we've ever seen.
From
Um,
Cody, I believe, right?
yeah. So he's got a blue and white deck. He's just got a bunch of blue and white rares in his starting pool, and even in his 4 losses, I think he opened a Sky Strike Officer, which was his second one, and a
Ah,
Teferi in like his packs when he lost. So
good lord.
uh, yeah, I've wanted to see his deck in action. I really I hadn't I don't know if he streamed much or maybe he was doing it in hours when I wasn't around, but I haven't seen his deck in action yet. So looking forward to this one. What's happening with Tony's hand over there? Looks
Yeah,
like he has a
so
nice aggressive
against
start.
against blue white, we have a really good deck to counter it. It looks like we're just getting classic Boros aggro. We're seeing 1, 2 curve outs here. What remains in his hand is the Blood Petal Celebrant from Crimson Vow, a Puncturing Blow, which is a 4 mana removal spell, and then a Angel of Sanctums at 5.
Okay, so it looks like Tony's respecting the potential deadly riposte or something of that nature by not attacking there.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah,
Yeah, I just noticed that.
yeah. Maybe he didn't want to walk into. I mean, the card from Brothers War that would get him there is the deadly riposte. That I think would be about it. So Christopher's hand is he has a planes left. He has a Weakstone Subjugation, Disenchant, Static Net, so a bunch of removals. The prison sentence you just casted. He has a Urza's Command as well, which is double blue. He won't be able to cast
Wow.
that yet, but he's gonna draw a Yoshin Tactician next turn. So that's a nice beefy body there. 3/4 for 4.
Yeah, that'll definitely prevent these attacks from coming through because this 2-1 and this 2-2 won't be able to get past that anytime soon. I mean, he does have Puncturing Blow in hand.
Okay.
He might decide if he wants to save it for something beefier, but
Puncturing Blow, I believe it deals some amount of small damage to an attacking or blocking creature.
he does 5 damage to a creature at sorcery speed, and that exiles something and exiles it as well.
Oh,
Yeah, that's
okay.
big enough to definitely get rid of.
Oh, right. Yeah, okay. I thought it was something else. Yeah, that's the one from Ammo Kit. Okay. Yeah, he's just going to get that Tactician out of there. Get in. So the Blood Petal Celebrant, I believe it makes a blood when it dies. And it
Yes.
attacks as a first striker. All right, so
Very, very good 2-drop.
Chris has to interact some way, but he has he has a static net. I don't know if he's happy using a static net on either one of these creatures, but he has a Weakstone Subjugation. Urza's Command can make him not take damage next turn, but it won't actually eat any of the creatures because
Yeah.
the construct comes into play tapped here. But it looks like he's just going to
Looks like
Urza's
he's using a
Command.
lot of. Yeah. Hmm.
Could just use it like a cryptic command, like tap their creatures and draw a card essentially.
Yeah.
Yeah. So here's a Stone Seeker.
I mean, I
Nice
think
little 2-drop here.
if you're stems and you're looking at how fast these creatures are pouring out, you may just be priced into using your removal on something that's less than ideal just to stop this bleeding.
Yeah, he's definitely going to cast the Urza's Command here, I imagine. -2, -0, and then he's just going to take it. Interesting.
Mm.
Okay. I mean,
I mean, Tony's happy to see that.
he's running out of cards. Let me make a body here and get a card. Okay, interesting.
Interesting.
Yeah, I think I'd be like I'm playing Boros. I'm behind already. I'd probably just you know be scared and prevent 4 damage to myself. But maybe that's why he's 20-4 and I'm at 10 losses.
I mean, unless he has ways of making this guy bigger, this 1/1's pretty negligible on this board.
Yeah, and he doesn't have any artifacts coming down here. He has a Airlift Chaplain here, which can find him something else to do.
Yeah, I think he's just getting. Um, Tony's just going to go under him this game.
Yeah.
He's already at 9 life, and he's got Sanctum of Hand, so he can exile anything that prevents this aggression from coming in.
Yeah, is that the Angel of Sanctions?
Sanctions, that's right.
Yeah, from
Angel of Sanctions.
right. So he's
The
milled.
M all one.
So he's milled another Urza's Command and Teferi here.
Another one.
Or no, the
Wow.
Urza's Command was already in the graveyard, but he's milled
Okay.
Teferi there. But Teferi was just 5 mana to make a body, which is not really good enough here. So he's gonna weak stone. He can weak stone subjugation this first striker here. The blood petal.
I mean, I think you just sort of have to,
Yeah, he
right?
has to. His other card is disenchant, and there's nothing to disenchant here.
Yeah, that's the trap of running disenchant main board. I've been finding is that it just these aggro decks don't really care about it.
Yeah, it's like it's cheap enough though that the person casting it is like using it on a 2-drop is fine. Like you're okay with it. But this Angel of Sanctions is going to come down and probably you know it could even it's probably going to take away the Airlift Chaplain. If Tony really wants to another attacker, he can take away the prison sentence also.
You can angel for quote unquote free on the token, right? Because if it gets removed, it doesn't get punished. But he could also
Yeah.
choose, if he wants to, he could choose to get rid of his own creature, either like the blood petal or the 2/1 that's being locked down as sort of like an insurance policy. But he's going to go for the two
Yeah, no,
two.
he's just going to go for the obvious play here. If he doesn't want to take 4, he has to chump block. Otherwise, go to 5 with no real. I mean, he has a static net here, so he can get back his Airlift Chaplain, but like that's it's just sort of putting a little band aid here. Yeah, so he basically has to static net here. He gains 2 life. His token will also grow to trade with the phalanx.
Yeah, it's actually very relevant here.
So and
And
he has
even
another
something that's
body.
Tony
So
not swinging with recruitment officer turn 1 might be very relevant in this game.
yeah, I mean, like I said, he must have respected Deadly Riposte because that's about the only thing that can really get him there. I guess in theory he could have had the uncommon, the Flash Flyer, but I mean, I think it was Deadly Riposte that he was worried about.
So interesting. He does have precursor that he picked up for the turn. He opts
Okay,
to not play
yeah,
it pre-combat.
yeah. The precursor is just going to get disenchanted though by Chris over here.
Yeah, that's going to be a huge blowout.
No, it's not a blowout. It's just like it's a 1-for-1. It feels like a blowout, but yeah, you know. If you target a
Well,
precursor
suddenly,
golem
you
with something that gains you advantage for tripling it, then it feels like
know,
it's
right?
like
Like
when you
deal
cast
3 damage, draw a card or something. Yeah.
raise to the ground, we'll draw 2 cards. Excavation explosion will make you 3 power stones, etc. But
Because the Tony does sort of recognize his quote unquote mistake by not playing that pre-combat to buff the 5/2.
yeah, I mean he would have just traded with that rather instead of the Stone Seeker. But
Maybe get in
yeah,
2 extra points down with the menace creature, but I don't know if it's going to be relevant at this point since he's facing no extra aggression from Tony's side with a mountain in hand left.
yeah. So he's gonna play Scrap Trawler and he's gonna disenchant the precursor and he's at 5 life. Once he gets an island, he could play the Temporal Anchor that's in his hand. So
Oh,
as long as
wow.
he's stable, he's going to turn the corner really fast with that if he's able to have time there. All right, so Levitating
Really good
Statue,
pickup here.
not really what you usually see. Playing a starring role in a Boros deck, but can get in for some damage here.
Yeah, it does have the ability to maybe sneak in the last couple points of damage he needs to have a chance at closing this out.
Yeah, Chris has another static net, so if that thing is looking threatening, he can just
Ah,
throw down
dang.
another static net, gain more life, on and on. He's looking if he has
Yeah, I can
anything to
see why
get back.
Sten's been
No.
doing well.
Yeah, he was looking to see if he has anything to get back with his Scrap Trawler, but he does not. I mean, this is just he's casting Disenchant here.
I mean, it looks like Stem's deck just has so many tools to deal with, aggressive boards, and we've been seeing a lot of aggressive starts in this format, which maybe explains why he's been doing so well with, he's got 3 static nets.
Yeah, 3 stack nets in the starting pool, I believe. Just a very, very,
Really good way of
very,
removing
very
something.
coherent starting pool here.
Rams you, gives you a stone and some life. It's just a really great removal spell at 4.
Yeah, I think he was about 11-1, and I said I better go see what in the world is in this guy's pool. And then I saw it, and I said,
Yeah, that makes sense.
Makes sense, yeah. And he's almost locked for top eight. Like usually 20 wins is like a guaranteed, and he's already there. So he'd have to
Yeah,
like basically lose every game and then somehow have eight people pass him because he's in first. So yeah, very impressive showing.
I was curious. Yeah, I looked at last week, and the top eight was 20 was absolutely the win market. Yeah, so I think he's all but guaranteed it at this point.
Yeah, and he's been in first place like since week one. I think like he was like 5-0 to start and just like never let up. Yeah, so the Koilos Rock jumps in to get in front of the statue here. So this is going pretty well now for Chris. I think he's able to enact his game plan here. Yeah, so he's got a static net here just to gain the life to get this thing off the board, and he can attack for a lot here. He can attack for eight. Like this is yeah, this is turning the corner very quickly here with this construct token.
I mean, that contract token with all the static nets. I mean, it makes Urza's command look like a very powerful
It's
card.
a Falagi Vanguard, but might be a little too late here.
Yeah, and he just is sort of forced to chump here.
Yeah, well, not sort of.
Right, you're right. He's absolutely
No,
forced.
he can go to one, but it's not looking great. But we'll see what Tony can draw next turn.
Deciding whether or not he wants to sack his career here for the extra card, I guess.
Yeah. The thing is, that it would bring it down by it would bring his construct down by a power, which is important. But maybe he just wants to see a new card. Okay, he's just gonna look at a new card here, and it's an island to cast his anchor. He could also
Uh,
cast a wing commando and bring back the combat courier. Let's see what he decides to do. He drew the wing commando for turn.
hmm.
You can just literally drop anchor here.
Maybe
Yeah,
he's afraid of a flash creature. I guess is the consideration.
yeah. I mean the common the flash creature that we see most of the time there is the ambush paratrooper. But if he's astute, he'll notice uh, that there was no priority being held.
Hmm.
So whatever Tony has in hand, it's not an instant speed card.
Just arena things.
Yeah, like yeah, like just imagine like the cube's out now. I never draft Pact of Negation. Never. I think it's a good card, but I just never draft it because you know you play your 2-drop, your opponent casts their 2-drop, and you get priority even though you're tapped out.
I mean, that's a lot of information. You're right. I never thought about that
Yeah,
before.
I hate it. I absolutely hate it. It's just like your opponent just cast their spell on turn 2. You're tapped out, and you now have priority because you can cast it for 0. Anyway,
That's miserable.
we see Chris turn the corner really fast there. He took a bit of damage. He got down low, but those static nets brought him back up, and with that mighty construct token, and then the Koilos Rock being flashed in, he was able to wrap it up quickly before Tony could find something to pull him back in the game. Any sideboarding
Yeah,
going on so far there?
he's looking through. I'm not seeing any changes made so far, but I mean, if I'm Tony, I'm thinking the 2 damage didn't matter at the start there, but I just think this is a matchup where you cannot afford to do anything besides be as aggressive as possible. Looks like he's putting in one of the flyers, the one that gives out a counter to maybe see if he can. No, but other than that, he's done sideboarding. He's just gonna say, "Let me give it another crack."
Yeah, so he's considering Scatter Ray. He's considering Yoshin Medic, the 1/4 lifelink. He's considering Third Pass Savant, 3 mana 2/3. Maybe it's just like a little better blocker than maybe something else he has. Comes down a little cheaper. So let's see here.
How top end heavy is Stem's deck?
Uh, not really. Like past 4, he has one Koilos Rock, Teferi, Temporal Anchor, and then he has a couple of prototype cards. So 2 Spotter Thopter and a Combat Thresher that could be cast for cheap.
Mm-hmm.
So really, his deck is really more aggressive than it looked like. He has two recruitment officer, two paratrooper. He can
Wow.
get off to a nice start. And he does have two Philagi archaeologist, which is not a aggressive card, but with the double sky strike officer, and he can do both, right? He can get off to a quick start, but then he has the card draw. So if opponent sort of turns the corner or stops his aggression, he can then play the card advantage game.
Got plenty of tools. You
And
said
then,
two Sky Strike officers, right?
yep, yeah,
Wow.
exactly.
I
Yeah,
can
so it looks like
understand his
I think he
record.
signed out one of his two Lorans escape. Yeah, this is just an astounding deck for four losses. Just like makes us all
It's got
jealous.
substantially fewer cards at his disposal compared to most other people left in the league, but these cards are like the quality's ridiculous.
Yeah, makes us all jealous. But it's good. I have wanted to see his deck. I've heard stories about it and seen the pool, but I've yet to see it in action, and we're getting that here. Looks like he's going to mulligan here. He had a one lander. He's going to keep this three lander with three islands. He's going to bottom a white card. So yeah, what's Tony's on looking like over there?
Tony kept, a little bit of a risky keep here just because it has two lands and he's sitting on a lot of four plus mana cards. He does have the celebration next turn as well as the recommission to get it back, but he does need to hit two more lands if he wants to play the rest of his hand, which includes I believe it's Traxos, the Scourge of Krug, the big
Oh
4/4,
wow, yeah,
the 7/7 historic trampler,
yeah,
and then two flying 5 drops.
yeah. Traxos, yeah. It's 4 mana, 7/7. Enters tap, doesn't untap
Yeah,
unless you cast a historic spell. Yeah, so Chris found a 2 drop here, which is good. The
on a
rest of
three
his
drop to go
hand,
with it. Wow.
he has a Yoshin Tactician, a Disenchant, can't cast yet. He has a fourth island and an Urza's Command. So he could play Urza's Command next turn. Most likely will, unless he draws Plains. Right, here it is. That's going to get disenchanted, though, as soon as he gets a Plains. But until then,
He
uh,
also doesn't have to if he because Tony doesn't have anything to actually enable
okay,
this scourge to
he
untap.
doesn't have a Historic spell? Okay. Yeah. So
No,
Historic
it's yeah,
spell,
he's got the-
if I recall, there was artifacts, but also any legendary card and sagas as well.
yeah,
So
100% correct.
those all qualify for things to untap it. I remember in Dominaria there was a common. It was a 2 mana 1/3 that just at the beginning of
That's
your hand
right.
step untap an artifact. I think that was just sort of the the combo there.
The go-to combo with that card. It's like I don't
Voltaic,
care that this thing doesn't untap.
yeah, Voltaic Servant it was. Yeah, so he's just gonna get a nice little advantage here with the Urza's Command.
Yeah, I
He's
like that.
deciding he's deciding whether he wants to draw a card or make a token, and he's going on draw card. He wants his planes. But instead
I
of a
mean, based
planes,
on
he's
how
drawn
good that contract is,
instead of a planes, he's drawn a Sky Strike Officer. So
that's better than a contract.
it's better it's probably better than a planes, but okay. Here's an Avon here, gain
So,
some life. So what's left in Tony's hand now?
he's got a mountain recommission, which he can use to get back the 2-1 that just died, and he has a aeronaut cavalry, so another
Yeah,
way to deal with a sky strike officer.
yeah. The 5 mana 3/4. All right. So the Sky Strike Officer is going to be shut down here. But as soon as he gets another soldier in play, he can start activating it, and he has two soldiers in hand, but they're both white. So
Mm.
if he gets a planes, he'll be able to just play his Yoshin Tactician and just start drawing cards. All right, so in
Yeah,
comes
like even if
Avon.
it's not being, even if it can't generate soldiers, like it just being able to sit there and draw cards is just also super powerful.
Yeah, so him attacking with the Avon, yeah, means that he's just going to play his 3/4 here. And another white card for Chris here. So 4 white cards in hand. Uh,
Huh.
Probably just has to sack the combat courier. No other play here. I mean, yeah, he's under siege. Like even in his hand, he doesn't have what to deal with these flyers. I mean, he could if he gets the Ocean Tactician, he can make his Sky Strike a 3/4. But
Mm.
right now, he drew another white card. So again, 5 white cards here. Uh,
I mean, this is definitely the break that Tony needs to be able to, beat a deck like Stems with it, which has these powerful cards in it.
yeah, he's got a fast clock here, 6 in the air. And again, if he ever gets that artifact, There's a 7/7 coming in as well. Let's not forget about that.
Ooh, nice pickup there with the prison sentence. So he has the
Yeah.
insurance to safely be able to go in on the offense without really worrying about Sky Strike officer.
Yep. Prison sentence stops all of the abilities, including the activated draw card ability.
Said he's going to opt to play this scrapwork cohort.
Well,
Ah,
yeah,
because of
it
course it
untaps.
untaps the.
It untaps the seven
I
seven.
forgot about
So
that guy.
yeah, so I mean, unless he wants to take 13 and go to 2, he has to put together some type of blocks here. But I mean, he could throw all of his creatures up with Traxos to trade, but then he has no board.
I mean, the only thing he needs right now is time because he can't really do anything else with the cards in his hand without it.
Yeah, so like just chump blocking here, it only saves him one damage because of the trample.
No, the trump block, yeah.
Yeah, so I
It's
don't
just
know. Yeah, maybe he hasn't come across that card, but does have trample. So now the evolving wilds here
oh gosh,
for the real feel bads here.
yeah, that always feels bad.
Like the last turn, I mean, he still doesn't even with a single planes. I don't think it would be enough.
Yeah, Ghost Ship doesn't really matter how strong your deck is. Land screw can happen to the best of them.
Oh yeah, again, we play this game. We know it happens every time we say it's going to be different. It won't. It will never happen to us again. But he's drawn the planes here. But I mean,
Okay.
in theory, he stays alive as long as the Traxos doesn't untap. If Traxos untaps, it's going to be
Traxos is unfortunately
yeah. So
untapping.
he's just gonna pack it in
Okay,
here. He's too far behind. He has to chump. He has to chump block both flyers because he can flash in the ambush paratrooper, chump block both flyers, and take one
mm,
and trade with the scrap work. But I mean, he's just gonna pack it in. Doesn't want to show any other cards. So
smartly so.
nothing you could do there. Like his mana is like on top of all the good cards he has. Chris has a good mana base. He has 3 evolving wilds. So he's playing a 2-color deck. Has 3 evolving wilds. So like 14 and 13 sources of each, respectively. 13 white sources, and it's like
Wow.
yeah. He has 10,
I
10 planes,
mean,
triple evolving wilds, 11 island.
no mistake really to be made. Just
Nope.
I wouldn't like look at that victory or that loss and go, oh, I did something wrong here. Just sometimes you just get the bad luck and you just have to roll it right back.
Yeah, it was a mulligan too, and he started off okay. He had a 2-drop into a 3-drop, but it fell flat after that, obviously. All right. So on to the last game here. So we're getting to game 3 for the first time tonight.
I'd like it to be a long one because we after the short games we've had tonight, it'd be nice to have one that goes back and forth a little longer than we've had.
Yeah. Let's see. Let's see if we can get one here. It looks like Chris has a good hand. How's Tony's hand looking there?
Yeah, we got a competitive one here as well. We've got up 3/2 drops, so
Yeah.
he's got plenty of things to play the next couple turns. He's got ambush paratrooper. He's got the 3/1 reach creature. He's got the levitating statue, um, and then a bunch of 3 drops. But we are missing that third land. Fortunately, it won't hurt him too much if he does miss the land because he'll have things to play. But he will want to get that third land very quickly if he wants to be able to play stuff like Warlord's Elites,
Yeah.
Blitz Automaton, or this prison sentence.
And so Chris's first play here is the airlift chaplain, which is going to find him a Sky Strike officer almost assuredly. Yeah. Yeah, and the rest of his
That's a
hand
good
is
no.
like Urza's Command, 2 planes, Static Net, Lauren's Escape. So, the Airlift Chaplain is a bit of a slow start against a red-white aggro, but like I think if Chris was on the draw this game, he would be in a lot worse shape than he is. Okay, so instead of playing a 2-drop, he's just going to dig for lands and looks like not find them,
Fortunately,
unfortunately.
doesn't find it. He finds 2 other 2 drops, which are things he can play.
Yeah, so funnily enough, this Rock Hunter does stand in front of a Sky Strike officer, but he has a Lorenz Escape, an Urza's Command, and a Static Net in hand, so he can dispatch of that Rock Hunter in any way he sees fit. But now's the second
Oh
one.
man, this feels rough. Not a third land to be found.
Yeah.
Gonna feel bad, you
So
know.
let's see how bad Chris wants to attack with this Sky Strike. All right.
Oof, okay, he does
Yeah,
decide to come for both.
He has a Lorenz escape here, so it's gonna come in
Yeah,
handy.
and he recognized that these 1/1s are pretty good against 3/1s.
He could also Urza's command because the only other play he has this turn is to cast a recruitment officer. So he probably just to maximize the use of his mana, he can just Urza's command here. So he's deciding again whether he wants to Lorenz escape or Urza's command, but his only follow up is recruitment officer.
I mean, maybe there's a world that he holds Urza's command as like a surprise at instant speed for the turn after. Who knows?
No, he's just gonna make the most of his mana here. -2,
Makes sense.
-0, and then all right. So he's happy with his hand. He's just gonna make an artifact here, and that artifact's gonna grow every time the Sky Strike attacks.
Oh gosh, that's right.
Yep. Another thing that Sky Strike Officer does, added to the list.
And Tony sadly hovering over his prison sentence saying, I do have an answer to this if I could just get a third land in hand.
Yeah, this is one of the more like oppressive 3-drop rares we've seen in
Oh,
a
it's
little while.
brutal. Oh man.
Reminds me of the wedding announcement or Helena and Elena from Vow. Just how they came down so
That's
early
right.
and just put all the pressure immediately. Uh, yeah.
Sad to say that we don't have another 2-drop in hand. Interesting.
Okay.
I wonder why he. Oh, he does have the flash. Okay, he's got the flash paratrooper he can flash, and I forgot.
Yeah, I mean, he could have just played it to avoid discarding to hand size, but I guess he wants to make
I think it's the least of his concerns at this point.
make him think he has nothing. I guess.
Oh
Right.
man,
Here comes
this is not how
everything.
you want to see these matches go.
Yeah, the paratrooper's going to come in, but I mean, the Sky Strike officer is still, there's the Lorenz escape, so that thing is not dying. Yeah. So makes So the airlift chaplain is gonna bid us farewell here, but the Sky Strike
He'll
officer.
happily exchange it. Yeah.
Right, so he's looking at a stern lesson here
Oh my gosh.
from top.
Uh,
Just gonna keep that, yeah,
yeah.
because
No reason not to.
just more gas is good. Yeah,
This is
so
giving me flashbacks to all my
unfortunate
Manosphere
draw for
issues.
Tony. It sounds like if he hit his lands, it would be a bit more competitive. But if he didn't have removal for this Sky Strike officer, it might not have mattered.
I mean, he's got the hand for it. Like he just needed one more land, and he think he would have been in a much better spot. Oh, and of course, just like last game, we have the evolving wilds.
The rub-ins, yeah. So we got a nice first game, but unfortunately, these last two are not panning out the way that the seemingly losing player would have wanted.
High strike officer just growing this construct is just like just added insult to injury.
Yeah, he wants to. Yeah, so he wants to get him dead here. I think. Let's see how many creatures he decides to attack with. He decides to send everything. All right, so he's gonna
I mean, at
static
this point,
net.
I think there's no reason not to. Oh, okay. Well,
He's
that's
gonna
definitely
he's gonna static net the 1/2. It's gonna grow the construct yet again, and now he's gonna seemingly attack all. I think. Yeah. So here's another token. So okay, yeah. So he's getting in the way of the
yeah,
construct.
it's so bad.
Yeah, he could have traded off with the Sky Strike, but he's just gonna soak up the damage here. And I don't know what it is he can draw or what's in his hand, but it's gonna take a lot to pull him out of
No,
this. Unless he has a board
it's
wipe hidden. Unless he
unfortunately
has a board wipe hidden there somewhere. This is gonna be a
lost
rough
too
one.
much time. I mean, he did draw a Silex, but unfortunately, it's
Yeah.
wow. I mean, if he had just drawn that land a turn sooner, and he is frustratingly waving that Silex around, going, "I could have done something about this."
Yeah. It's just he's gonna
Yeah,
show him. the Silex.
It's
But
got some feel bad.
yeah, so again, Christopher just keep on keeping on the march here. 21-4, unbelievable. And we see his deck functioning at a high capacity here. I mean, against the Mana Screw, that's never what you want to see.
Right.
But we did see in the first game that turnaround and the quick turnaround there after falling behind. But congratulations to Christopher continuing his impressive run here. Just astounding, like I said, in first place presently. So
Just 4 more wins to getting the record.
yeah, he's knocking on the door there. So thanks to the players, and we'll see everybody for some week 6 feature matches coming up.